Welcome to the Real Estate Investing Club. This is the place everyday real estate investors gather to share their best stories, biggest insights, and favorite tactics to grow a portfolio of cash flowing properties in today's market. Here's your host, Gabe Peterson.
All right. Welcome back to another episode of the Real Estate Investing Club, and happy Friday, everybody. As always, bringing that Friday energy to you. Hope you guys are having a good day. It's a good day for a second reason, because we got Nick Disney with us on the podcast today. Nick is from sellmysanantoniohouse.com. He does single families out in San Antonio, and specifically they like the owner financing route. They like holding notes. It's a unique strategy we've covered very briefly on the podcast before, so I'm super excited to jump into this. Nick, thanks for hopping on the show.
Thanks for having me, man. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. I told you before we got on here, we always like starting with stories and hearing how people got to where they are. So why don't you take us to the beginning of your story in real estate and tell us how you got here?
Absolutely. The beginning was just from a place of wanting a little more, wanting something else besides just a regular job and producing more and be willing to work hard, and found real estate investing. Felt like I understood real estate. At the time, I felt like because I was fairly handy that would be a good route. That's not what I do now, but and really just focused on trying to find the first property, read a few books, and was like, hey, well, I get some of this. It makes sense. You know, I could buy something like a single family house and improve it, add some value, and and if I rent it, somebody will pay me each month for letting them live in this house. And so started down that path and built through the rentals and was obviously do some wholesaling and flipping. And we still do a little bit of that. We still have a bunch of rentals, but later on transitioned over to owner finance. And for folks that aren't as familiar, we're just buying the property, we're rehabbing it, we'll sell it. And we sell it, we'll take a down payment, and we will carry back the note so they can make payments to us. We're essentially acting as the bank and collecting a monthly payment. And so that is the main focus of the business now. We make several notes a month. We keep some of those, and we sell a lot of notes to other investors who really don't want to do any legwork and just want to own the note. And so that's really the focus of where we are today.
Nice, man. Yeah, it's a very unique strategy, and I feel like there's a lot of upsides to it. And I feel like you take it even a step further. A lot of people will just go out there, they'll look for notes to buy. But you guys are you're doing the flip. I mean, you're flipping the house, but instead of selling it with someone going out to a bank, getting their own loan, you become the bank. You say, hey, we have the house. We're also the bank. We'll do the whole thing for you. And then you hold the note on the back end. So let's go through this strategy step by step.
Yep.
A lot of times, the thing that pops out to me, I've never done this. I've never, I've held notes, but I've never flipped with the intention of selling it on a note.
Right.
And so the thing that kind of pops out to me in the first place is how are you recouping your money when you're holding the note for potentially a long term?
Right. So there's two ways we're going to do it. And once we've sold it, and the key is you have to make a really good quality note, right? But once we've sold the property, somebody owns it. So what we have is a note receivable, or this payment stream that's going to come to us. And so if we're going to hold on to that one ourselves, you can take those to the bank. You're not going to take them to any bank. You're not going to take them to Wells Fargo. But similar to the way you would refinance a rental property, you can take this promissory note as your collateral to the bank, and they will refinance out a lot of the cash you have in that. And so, yes. And so what they're taking is your note receivable as the collateral. And then think of it, it's very similar to how you refinance a rental property. But what I will tell you is it's not as easy. Refinancing a rental property is very easy for most people. You're going to need to build a relationship. It's probably going to be with a local bank. Don't try to go to Bank of America and think it's not going to happen. And so we do that. The other way that our business is today is there's a lot of work that goes into buying, rehabbing, selling, producing the note. There's a lot of people who would like to come in the back end and say, hey, I'll just buy that note. It pays 10.9%, which is typically what ours are. We'll just buy that. And because the other question that comes up is, well, why don't you keep every note? And I would love to, but it's an incredible amount of capital month over month, and
Yeah,
so we sell quite a few, right? And so when someone buys one, that also recoups capital for the business, and so that's how we keep it going, month after
so
month.
yeah, so you are. I mean, you'd have to be buying these houses all cash. You aren't financing
Correct.
them because if you can't, I mean, no bank is gonna allow you to put a note in a second position.
No one is going to let you refi a wrap note, or no one's going to buy one at anything but a ridiculous price. So the we do pay cash, but we do use a lot of private lenders on the front end. And
Okay.
so if Gabe wants to be the initial lender, I'm like, hey man, this project's 100,000. You would fund that initial project. We're paying you, so that's like a short term, just private loan, me to you. But before we sell it, we have to cash you out, right? Because if I didn't cash you out, then like you're saying, then I've got a second position. You've got this wrap note, which does not have the same value, is not of the same quality. So we will use private money on the front end, but then we cash it out before we would sell it to the end buyer.
Okay. And so but you'd be cashing it out with your own
Yes.
funds. You're not
Mm-hmm.
cashing it out
Mm-hmm.
with anybody else's funds, right?
Correct.
So yeah, this doesn't seem like a strategy that can work multiple times in a row, because as you mentioned, you run out of capital. You buy a house for 100,000, you have 100,000 in that house. You can sell it on a note, 10.9% interest. But you can't access that 100,000. Well, it's probably now, you put 25 into it, so 125, and now it's worth 170. So or 200, whatever the number is. You can't access that capital until that note has been paid down or is sold.
You can't access that cap. So if you're doing it on your own, right? Once I sell it, so if I've sold it for, let's say 170, and I've got some, I sold the sales price was 170, but I got a decent down payment, so they finance 155. If you go to the right bank, I can take that 155 note, and you could probably get 70% back on that. It's more than likely going to be a 10 or 15 year term. It's probably not going to be a 20 or 30. I've never seen it.
Mm-hmm.
And so that is how, if we're going to hold that note ourselves, we're going to bring our capital back out. And we can do that, within 30 days of the sale.
So why, if you're just selling it to a bank, why even go through the hassle of creating the note? Why not just sell it as a rehab? Why not, flip the property?
Oh, well, holding the notes has a significant advantage, right? So notes are not for everyone. But what people don't see about notes is notes are fantastic for long-term, consistent, predictable cash flow. I own a bunch of rental properties, and I talk to people every week that tell me they're going to go buy these rentals and that they're going to buy them for cash flow. And anybody that's owned them for a long time knows that that doesn't work out quite as well as the books say it does. But with notes, our typical note that we sell is $150,000. At 10.9, that's a little over $1,400 a month, principal and interest payment. What it allows you to do is, so $1,400 a month is coming in, but you don't have real estate taxes, you don't have insurance, you don't have repairs, you don't have turnover, you don't have a lot of these costs that come with being a landlord of the rental property. Now, what does that allow you to do? Well, how many $1,400 a month do you need if they come in every single month to live the life you want or create your financial freedom or whatever your goal is? And it's very, very predictable. It doesn't have the ups and downs. You don't have an AC go out and you spend $7,000. It's not your AC. So that is one of the biggest advantages. And the majority of people that buy notes from us are not real estate investors. They're typically business people, doctor, your lawyer. He owns a car dealership. They understand finances. They understand real estate's a good investment. They're like, man, I like it. It has collateral. It's consistent return. It actually produces cash flow. And it's something other than the stock market. And so that's where we fit really well. And if people are looking for something else, then our business model is not the right fit for them. And that's all right.
Yeah. So what percentage of the projects that you do and you turn them into the note, which percentage of are kept as a note in your own portfolio, and which percentage are sold to other investors?
We probably sell 80+% of them now.
Oh wow. Okay.
Mhm. So we and there's times where we'll keep more because what actually happens when we're keeping them is the bank will give us they were typically not doing one at a time.
Mm-hmm.
And so these bank relationships uh, are you're not walking in with one property at a time. They're typically saying, "Hey, we'll do another guidance line. Here's $1 million. You can fill this million with notes." And so then we'll keep whatever fills that up. And in between, we'll sell them because to your point earlier, when we do sell it, it does put cash back in the business, and we have expenses and we have a whole team, and so we need cash going into the business as well as we need cash flow, which is our ultimate goal is long term cash flow, but we need the cash as well.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's, I mean, that's what kind of jumps into my mind when I'm thinking of somebody who's getting into real estate. They're trying to figure out their strategy. Like, what am I going to do? How am I going to achieve financial freedom, which is
Mm-hmm.
usually cash flow. That is what financial freedom is. You can, I mean, I guess if you flipped a house and you made $6 million, then then
You're
you're
all
free
right.
there. But usually people are thinking about cash flow. But using this strategy, it would be difficult unless you didn't already have a significant portion of cash flow to deploy, because you can't, like we mentioned before, you can't access that capital until the note is sold. And
Right.
once the
So
note's sold, you don't have the cash flow.
correct. What I would, if we're speaking to a beginning investor who wanted to go the owner finance route, right? There are other ways to do it. It would not be the same as our business, but I definitely did it starting.
Okay.
Because if you're borrowing private funds from people, all you have to do is be honest with your private investor, and if you're going to keep that note, you're not going to sell it. There are many lenders who will let you wrap their money with a
Mm.
second, right? And so when I first started, I didn't have enough money to fund an operation like we run now. And so what I would do is I'd go to the private lender, and things were a little cheaper because it's a long time ago, but I'm like, hey, it's $50,000-$60,000 for it. They'd let me borrow it, and I would tell them, I was like, hey, here's my plan. I'm going to rehab this, but I'm going to sell it. I'm going to wrap it. I'm still going to make your payment. I will pay you every month, just like we agreed. You want to get a little longer term, so you need somebody that's going to loan 3, 4, 5 years. And then I would wrap it. And so I would have a spread, because if I borrowed 60 and, say 10% is what I borrowed it at, but I sold it at 100 at 10.9, obviously there's a spread in the cash flow. And then what I would do is use my other projects, like any wholesale that I could do, or like the small flips I was doing, and I would save it to pay them back.
Yeah.
The reason I did it too is because if you can do that and pay them off, I sold mine on 30 years. So if I paid them off in 3 to 5, I could keep the other 26, 27 years of payments. And that's what I really wanted. So that is a strategy you can use. You're not going to be able to scale that probably, right? But if you're getting started and you really want to owner finance and you believe in that's your way to cash flow, do it. But do not lie to your private lenders. People think they're going to do it. It's such a terrible idea. Tell them, and if they say no, don't do it. Find another one.
Yeah. Yeah, but that does make sense, because then you are the one that's in second position. They're still in first. They still are
Yep.
secured by that property. They're going to get paid out first, and so
Yep.
really, there's not as I don't see much risk at all to them, because they're still covered. They still have their
Mhm.
money covered by the work that you've already done in the property. Um, cool. So let's talk
Yep.
about how your business runs today. It sounds like you got a team out there. They're doing work. How
Mhm.
do you get the leads, and then what is the process you take them through once you get them?
Yep. The majority of our leads come through our website. We do a lot of marketing online, sellmysanantoniohouse.com. And so a lot of SEO, Google ads, the majority come through that. Second is direct mail. We have a direct mail campaign that hits our target areas in San Antonio, and then uh, just relationships and word of mouth, because we've been around and we've been in the area a long time. And the other leads will come through that, but the majority come through our website.
Nice. Yeah, SEO is definitely the best strategy. I had when I don't do flips anymore, but when I was doing flips, I actually ranked a website, and it was doing pretty well. And then I switched over to commercial, and I didn't realize you can sell ranked websites, and I kicked myself because I just shut the website down rather than sell.
Oh,
But oh well. So of those, you mentioned three different methods: SEO, Google Ads, direct mail. Which one works the best? Which one is your favorite?
Before we continue on with today's guest, I want to tell you guys about a community I'm launching on School to help investors like yourself grow your own portfolio. In this community, you'll get access to all the docs I use, all the systems I've built, everything I've used to grow my own portfolio, as well as instructions and guidance on how to get out there and find great deals, how to finance those deals, and then how to manage them for great returns. Since we're just launching it, the price will be set at a measly $20 per month, and whatever price you join at is the price you'll have for life. We will be increasing the price as the group grows, so if you're at all interested in growing your portfolio along other investors, now is the time to join. I will put the link somewhere in the bio or on our podcast website at therealestateinvestingclub.com, so if you are interested, head on over there. With that said, let's get back to the podcast.
Oh, SEO. If you can put in the work and put in the time, it's the best leads and the best spreads over time. And those are all inbound. So somebody actually went in and typed in, we buy houses San Antonio, was looking for you, and then called you for your service. That's my favorite one.
SEO. Is there any specific tips you can give people out there to how they can rank a website, how you did it, what platforms you use, all that stuff?
Yeah, I mean, we have a Carrot website, and we did try to make it different. My tip would be to try to make yours unique to you. If you go and you try to copy mine, you're just going to be second to mine. That doesn't really help you. You need one that speaks to who you are, what you are, and try to make it a little bit unique. And then focus on keywords that make a difference in our business, where sell my house San Antonio does not, because that's everybody that wants to sell a house, and we're not a good fit for them. But cash for houses, we buy houses, problems where we can come in and solve them with cash by buying the house. That's the keywords I would focus on, and know that it's going to take time. You're not going to do it in a big city in 2 months. It just takes longer than that. So you need a long-term plan on the SEO and something to produce quality leads. Another way to do it so you can keep your business going while you build the SEO.
Yeah, and that would be the direct mail or Google Ads.
Exactly.
Do you guys run your own ads, or do you hire an agency?
Absolutely not. There's a guy named Doug out of Fort Worth. I've worked with him for a long time. I'd be happy to referral, or you can put it in the show notes. I'll send it to you. He runs the Google Ads. He's better at it than me. He knows more about it than me. I don't want to learn it. Like, you do it, man. I pay you, and it's better for both of us.
Yeah. I ran Google Ads when I was first starting, and man, you can sink a lot of money quickly into
Real
Google
quick.
Ads. Real
quick.
Yeah, that's funny. All right, we are cutting the time down, so I'm going to ask, before we get to the quick question round, I always like to ask, what does the future hold for you guys? Your crystal ball, next 3 to 5 years, what's your goals, and what do you see for the market?
For us is to grow the note portfolio and our investors. I am seriously considering starting my own debt fund to hold notes and exactly what we do. So there's a very good chance that I will start that in the next year or so. And we'll continue to do that. And I think we'll just go more to lending. We do have quite a few rentals, and I'm pro rental as well, but I think we'll just go more to that space. And as far as the market, I think, rates are going to stay high for a little bit. We're going to have to learn to work in that market. But people will go back to living and buying houses, and things will hopefully get a little more smooth. And we just need to, we love the good times, but we got to take the ones that are a little tougher to operate in as well.
Yep. Yeah, it doesn't matter how high rates get. People always do need a place to live. So that is, I guess that's a benefit. That's a silver lining there. All right, I'm going to take that opportunity and move us on to the quick question round. Are you ready?
Yep.
All right. It starts with education, and this could be any form. It could be a book you read, a conference you went to, mentorship program you're a part of. But I need 2 recommendations, one for general life wisdom and one for real estate.
General life wisdom. There is a book called Grit. And they did long study and interviews, but it also talks about just toughness and perseverance. I'm a big fan. So you guys should guys should read that one. And a real estate related one, it's a classic, but Rich Dad, Poor Dad, it made a difference for me. It was at the beginning, and I never had anyone explain to me that I could own something, people would pay me, and I could use that to pay for my stuff. And we still do that exact same thing to this day. And so I really appreciate the lessons that I was able to pull out of it.
Yeah, that is a catalyst for a lot of investors out there.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't tell you how to do it, but it definitely tells you why you should do it. And so,
Exactly.
It's a good book. All right, next question is, lost my spot, for your younger self. So let's go back to the Nick who was just getting started so many years ago. Go back to him, look him in the eye, give him one piece of advice moving forward.
Absolutely. There's only two things that you need to focus on. Everybody's distracted by them. They are deals and money. That's it. The things I needed when I started, they're still the same things we focus on today. If you're not finding quality deals and you're not finding capital to fund those deals, every other action that you take and everything you're distracted by is a waste of time. Only focus on those two things, and then the rest will come to the party once you have them.
There you go. You heard it here first. Deals and money. Those are the two things that you should be focusing on. And that is great advice for anybody pretty much at any point of your career. All right. Next question is about the US. It's a big place. There's a lot of opportunity out there. You focus exclusively on San Antonio. So I'm going to be a little bit more specific for you. Yep. Usually I say, what metro in the US are you most excited about investing in today? I'm going to ask, what part of San Antonio are you most excited about investing in today?
South side, Southwest San Antonio. That's where our sweet spot is, but there's just nothing but room for growth there. And everything going west out of San Antonio, that's probably the spot that I would be most focused on.
There you go. All right, we've already kind of touched on this a little bit, but the next question is about finding deals. It all starts with getting in contact with the seller and penning that purchase agreement. So what is your favorite way to generate leads and find new deals?
Yeah, definitely the website has worked the best for us. But whatever you do, guys, you got to pick one, maybe two things and be consistent. If you can't afford to do the website and the Google ads, like we talked about, it's expensive. Find something you can consistently do it, and you will be successful.
Yeah. And calling is a tried and true method for anybody. If you guys are really just starting, if there's anybody out there who's just getting started now, you can get a list and then skip trace it and just pick up the phone. It's, skip trace it's like a couple cents per skip trace, and the list will cost you again a couple cents per lead, and then you just pick up the phone. It's an easy way to do it. Definitely is a good way to go to. So next question is, you've already mentioned it. There are two things in real estate. It is finding the deal and then finding the money. So it does take money to make money in real estate. Whoever tells you differently is lying. So what is your favorite way to generate capital for your deals?
Really just networking and talking about what we do. We do a lot more social media and do get people to reach out to me through that now, and super grateful. But when I very first started, it was always networking and meeting people, and people lend to people that they like and trust, and building the relationships. And as you build those relationships and you take care of those lenders, they will introduce you to other people. If you don't take care of those people and you don't build the relationships, they won't. And that's how we grew it over the years. And it's a lot of referrals now. So just always take care of the lender.
Yeah. Relationships is everything in real estate. And you can swap lender out for any other person you deal with there, your broker, your property manager. Just treat them right, and your business will grow for sure.
It's a great point.
All right. Next question is about lessons learned. Not every deal that we get into goes the way we expect it. In fact, a lot of times things go a little sideways, but that's when we get to learn our greatest lessons. So what was the deal that went a little sideways for you guys? And then what was the lesson you pulled from it?
The ones that have gone sideways for us is when we get out of what we're really good at. Focus is the lesson. There's always another way to make money, and somebody's always going to have the next great idea. It doesn't mean that you can't do a couple of different things, but whenever we buy something that's outside of our scope, it takes too much time, too much energy. We don't do as well on it as we always think we're going to do. So hyper focus is the lesson, and absolutely crush it. And then when you're crushing that, then if you want to look at something else, it may be time for a swap.
Yeah, I'm shaking my head because that is 100% Great advice. There's so many times when the shiny object syndrome gets me, and I just, there's so many ways, as you said, to do real estate. There are exciting ways. There's different asset classes, different strategies within those asset classes. And it's exciting. And if you're a person that, likes to build businesses, likes to create things, you really do, you'll get the urge to go off and do something else when you're already doing something and you already understand something, but you got to resist it because the money really is in expertise, in mastery, in understanding your niche, understanding your asset, and doing well at it. So great advice. That leads us to the last question. This is for the listeners. You've given us a lot to think about. I'm sure people want to reach out, get in contact with you. This is a two-parter. Where can they find you? And then what can they expect when they reach out?
So if you want to just email me directly, it's the website, sellmysanantoniohouse.com. My email is Nick, Nick, at sellmysanantoniohouse.com. Shoot me an email. I'm happy to connect if we feel like we can help one another. And I'm also super, super passionate about real estate. So I do like to talk about it. And then a lot of people find me on Instagram, realestate_Nick, and then the number 1. So we send get a lot of messages there. If you reach out to me, let's just find a way that we add value to each other. That is where I've been the most successful in business. And those are the relationships I like because those relationships last for years and not just one deal. But let's find a way we can add value to each other, and then reach out, and I'll probably say, hey, let's set a Zoom. I do it all the time. I have one later today. Hey, let's jump on a Zoom, have a conversation, and see where it goes. I'm absolutely open to it.
Cool. I will put that link in the show notes. So if you guys want to reach out to Nick, just click the little more in the description. It'll pull down that full description, and there you can find his links. All right, man. That wraps it up. Thank you very much for hopping on the show.
Thanks for having me, man. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. For everybody who's with us today, thank you guys for showing up. You are the reason we do this. So if you guys have any questions, reach out to me, Gabe at therealestateinvestingclub.com. If you guys want to support the show, just leave us a review on whatever you're listening to this on. Other than that, I hope you guys have a great week. Keep rocking real estate, and I look forward to seeing you on the next episode.
All right, before I officially sign off, I have a quick announcement to make. If you're interested in becoming a passive investor in one of my deals, my own company, Kaizen Properties, is looking for capital partners for our upcoming projects. We invest in what are known as recession-resistant assets, mainly self-storage facilities, mobile home and RV parks, and industrial properties. If you're interested in investing and would like to learn a little bit more about my company, our investing criteria, and some of the previous projects we've done, go to the Real Estate Investing Club podcast at therealestateinvestingclub.com and scroll all the way down to the bottom of the page. Click on the Invest With Us button. That'll pop up the investor form. Fill that out, and we will reach back out to you as soon as we can. Or if you prefer a little bit more of a personal touch, you can reach out to me at Gabe at therealestateinvestingclub.com. So really, that is it. Again, it was a pleasure hanging out with you guys during this episode, and I look forward to seeing you on the next episode.